What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno, and this time we're going to listen to another Kektex tune. But this time we're going to listen to one that's much more recent. We're going to listen to a Routemaster release from 2019. Some of you will know it well. It was very exciting when it came out because I had thought that All In / My Name Was Acid was the last release, and as I wrote at the time, that would have been a great release to go out on, and the one before that was the Loki 2 double LP. But yeah, when this came out, I was really excited, and I think it is fantastic. As I wrote on the Discogs review, I think there's a couple that are really good. There's another one that's pretty good, and then I think there's one or two that, like, at least when I first heard this release, didn't quite like set my brain on fire. Not that they were bad by any means, but just they didn't stand out the way the other three, and in particular two of them did. So it'd be interesting to go back and listen to all of them. Before we get to the tune, I do want to mention there's some funny stuff on the release here. And apparently multiple people in the Dunster family were involved in certain things. It says Leo Dunster, rum, beer, and cable tech. Shout out to Leo. Artwork from Tom Bartlett and Laurie Dunster. There's also, where is it? Guest tom-toms on Plenty of Boom by Lisa Dunster. Vocals by Keith Tenniswood. So yeah, there's some guest appearances and some, apparently some family on this release. I think that's dope. That's cool. I do want to mention that it says all tracks recorded on Mushrooms at Immersion Studios. Shout out to psilocybin. Shout out to Immersion Studios. And I believe this is like the rebuilt studio, right? Like I think the original. Well, first of all, let's mention while I'm talking about original. I believe this is the original Routemaster bus, right? Or at least it's like an homage to it anyway. But yeah, so I think there was an old studio, and then I think he had to like completely rebuild it, so I think by 2019, surely that's what we're talking about. Let's mention the artwork on the release, this sort of like Victorian, like quack medicine, like horror sort of scene. Shout out to the label Routemaster, you can see the logo down there. Always excited, and as I said, I was so pumped when I saw this come out, but we're going to listen to a tune by Kektex called One More Shot. So once again, Kektex, if you didn't know, is Laurie Immersion mixed with Henry Cullen in the guise of Dave the Drummer. So here we go. This is 2019 from the There's No Planet B release, which is given the cat number like Route 50 not out, but I thought there was a Route 50. I forget, it was like a silver like label. I forget the name of the release, but yeah, so I was a little confused by what they did with the cat number, but hey, there's nothing wrong with being a bit cheeky. So, just to... Routemaster always got stuff in the run out, right? Oh, I think we do. Mastered by Curve Pusher, and then Route 50 not out. It's just the cat, and then mastered by Curve Pusher. So I don't think there. Oh, maybe there is. What does that say? Yeah, it's Curve Pusher. Route not out. Yeah, I think that's all it says. So here we go. Kektex, One More Shot, which, if you didn't know, relates to tequila. And if, I don't drink anymore, but I used to drink, and, tequila, get yourself in trouble quick. These days, I'm just a fan of the Hobbit's leaf, and that's about it. Tequila, tequila, tequila. But to be clear, I got nothing against anything that anyone else likes to do for themselves. That's where I'm at. But, there have been parties in years past where tequila was drank. I want to, like, misconjugate it, misdrunken. Got that classic sort of percussion, wood sort of rhythm mixed with now the hats and what was that? That louder and louder electronic buzz. Like nope, you can't go through the check line, sir. You need to see what you got on you. That's what you got on you. You got tequila. And now this deep just feels like a classic Routemaster track. It really does. Bringing in the claps like double time. That bass layer is nice. Okay, when we get to the secondary intro coming up, it's my favorite part of the tune. So in advance, the next transition is like. Gotta rock out and not spill the tea. That acid bass line. The bass line is just. Love the way the hats and the clap come in there. Now we're gonna get a hard, like high metallic synth dissonant. This is all just classic Routemaster sound. Now, I will admit, I remember when I first heard this, there's a tune that Chris did on Protocol called Cat's Eye, and I absolutely love that tune, but I'll admit, there's a part in the middle where there's this dissonant layer, I was going to say dissonance layer, that it eventually gets like really heavy, and it's right on the edge of being a bit too rich for me. And then it's sort of like, the acid kind of pulls it out and like pulls it off by the end. I remember having a similar feeling with this metallic, like high dissonant synth. I remember really liking it at first, just like with the sort of heavier dissonant layer in Cat's Eye. But I remember by the time I got to the breakdown, I felt like maybe it was wearing a little heavy. Maybe it was like a bit like on the edge of like, all right, we got to take it out of the tune. Be interested to hear it. Again, I've used it in a couple mixes, but I don't, I haven't listened to this hundreds of times like I have a lot of other Routemaster tunes. It just hasn't been out nearly as long. Be interested to see how this synth evolves and hits my brain as we move toward like a longer interlude. But right here is sweet. It's in a good spot. Now kind of like trying to hold on a little bit. But that rolling deep bass line. Electric stab. Wow, wow. Wow, wow. No problem so far. If I remember having that thought, I think it must relate to later in the day. Because we're still firing loud and proud right here. Vocals coming in, I remember now. Cheeky vocals about things that people like while drinking, maybe. Like the escalation of the naughtiness, I love it. Again, very Routemaster, right? Like tracks like Acid Slapper and Take Your Knickers Off and whatever. Like again, it fits with everything that Routemaster is. It's a true continuation. Not a proper drop, but like an interlude drop, right? Like an escalation drop. harmonica nicely, you might get better results than screaming for one. Just saying. The cheekiness. It's very 15 cans of Stella, right? Tequila. Yeah, I think my initial thought that maybe that hard synth was like, you know, a bit too rich. There's been no point in so far which I thought it. I don't think it now as it comes back in. So maybe that was just an initial, like, my brain's gotta kind of like, you know, come to terms with the tune and understand its various ways. But I'm down. There's no problems. I have to go back and listen to Cat's Eye, see if it's the same thing. Shout out if you're a fan of that tune. Hear that really high one? It's like a little laser shot. Stab layer, this new like laser sliding layer on top of it, the rolling layer below. The rolling layer below is maybe the main champion of the tune. The tune is what it is because of that deep rolling bass line. And again, the stab layer and that like squeaky layer up top, they're not exactly doubling each other, but they're moving in the same direction. Literally, there's no part of this tune that I'm like, I don't know if that works. No. That happens though, I mentioned it before, you know, there are tunes I get where like, I like them out of the gate, or maybe they're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's the B-side, and then over time it's like, whoa, this is even better than I thought. But it does happen with the tune you bought it for sometimes. Like, yeah, that's the tune I bought it for, but it's even better than I realized. Hey, give me that low end in isolation. I'm using every second of this on the way out. We're double dropping here, but I'm not leaving early. Oh, double dropping with this. Because it's like cutting back and forth with that bass line, like that simple like kick hat rhythm. Did extra credit, like fucking brown noser. Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, honestly, again, whatever thought I may have had before about like, oh, is there a middle part of the tune that kind of weighs a little bit heavy, doesn't work as much? No, not that time. Listen to it. That was just brilliant. And again, I love the sort of cheekiness of the breakdown and the sample. It kind of gives me One Night in Hackney vibes, at least a little bit. But it's just hard, it's driving, it's got that like excellent low acid end, acid low end. It's got the stab layer, the squeaky layer near the end. It's just, again, a multi-layered acid sandwich, and it has that hard, like driving, just sort of, you know, techno-industrial kind of feel, the way a lot of Routemaster tracks do. So from top to bottom, left to right, back to front, it's just a great tune and a like true Routemaster track, which again, you know, it's like, oh, like maybe it'll come back, but it won't have quite the same sound. That happens with some labels, whatever, but no, like, you know, it's still the same sound. So as many times as they want to come back for like, and we're going to do one more, whatever, I'm here for it. Or if they want to do, like, it was technically like a Stay Up Forever special or whatever, but when Loki came back and they did, you know, the new wave of acid-techno, but on the flip side, they like remade it as new phase of acid-techno, and it had a lot, like, very similar sound, but it sort of like, you know, changed it in a few ways. I really like that release, so If they want to do that, where it's, you know, maybe it's not technically Routemaster, but it's again through like Stay Up Forever or like one of the affiliated labels, that would be dope. Bottom line, as many times as Routemaster and the people who dominate its catalog want to continue making tunes in that style, I'm here for it and I will buy them. So yeah, shout out to Kektex. It's just a brilliant track. Let me know if you like that one or if there's another track on this. As I said, I'll keep it mysterious for now, but there's a couple others that I really do like. One in particular, there's another one I like a lot. There's two that, like, when I first heard this, didn't really set my brain on fire. You could go on my Discogs, you know, you could go look on the Discogs page, you'll see my reaction. But as I mentioned then, I think in that review, that, you know, sometimes that changes over time. So it'd be interesting to go back and listen to the two, which I shall remain nameless for now, but which didn't exactly set my brain on fire. It'd be interesting to listen to them and see if anything's changed, because that does happen. So anyway, let me know if you want to hear any particular Routemaster. I got one coming that was sort of from a request. A person just sort of threw it out as like, oh, I always fucking love that one. Well, I love it too, so that one's coming for sure. But if there's any other Routemasters that you'd like to hear or see, let me know. I do have most of the catalog, so it'd be interesting to get more feedback in that area. In any case, thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day. Hope you have a good night. See you next time. Peace.